We are a little obsessed.
A little obsessed.
With the secret. The secret, it's a law. It talks about a law of attraction. Whatever you are imagining, you're attracting into your life. That red sports car, oh, that's that car I want. But at the same time, it could be what you don't want as well. Why am I always broke? Why don't I get girls? And you're gonna attract that. You're imagining yourself being broke, you're imagining yourself not attracting girls, and that's gonna be your result. If that law is true, then you might as well just think about what you want. In a nutshell, that's what we did.
Make more money, lose weight, fall in love, land your dream job.
We were before it
We got there before, bro.
Why do you call it The Secret?
What we do is we attract into our lives the things that we want.
I was at my cousin's house, and they're into a lot of weird stuff. I sat down, and then I started getting into it, and then I found myself just watching it, then rewatching it.
He brought it over. This is it, man. Dude, just watch this. And you just imagine what you want, man. It starts to give you little things to do. Go wherever you're gonna go and imagine the ideal parking space that you want. I'm driving, I'm happy, and all of a sudden I can pull up at the bank and I seen the space. It was a space right there for my car in front of the bank. Did that a couple times, right? It worked 3 times in a row. It was still majestic to me. It was still magical. How is this possible? Is it because I am controlling the universe now? I wasn't making the space. All I was doing was being aware of the opportunity for a space to happen. Once you acknowledge what you want, that becomes your target. That becomes your treasure map. And you don't know when you're gonna see it, so you always have to be aware of what you want.
You can have, do, or be anything you want.
I was the only featured rapper on the Black Eyed Peas' first album. I was rapping about where I felt the world was at. The poet talking about how, you don't have to go to college to be smart. This was in 1998. And they were rapping about, I want to travel the world and see every city and get all the girls and get money and all that stuff.
I got my money, let's spin it up.
They got money, they became the Black Eyed Peas, and and I was still that person judging what the world was, and I said that was the secret. They just talked about what they wanted, and they moved toward that. I talked about how the fact that you don't have to go to college and be smart and all that stuff, and I had that. Some people say, I'm happy making $60,000. So they go get a job that they think makes $60,000. My thing is $1 billion. Why did I pick that high thing? Because I was bored picking anything lower. When we created Shots, it was, we're gonna create the biggest drinking song ever.
Shots, 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 shots. Everybody!
It was the intention. It was, people say, are you surprised Shots is the biggest song in the club? Honestly, we're not surprised. Literally 4 months ago, it was, I want to be #1. I want to experience #1. Every song that I mix now, is this gonna go #1? And I'm seeing it #1 and I'm listening to it. It's like a fantasy. Always constantly thinking about that stuff, and it makes you feel good now. And that feel good now, that's your guide, that's your compass. So if you're not feeling good, you're in the wrong direction. We use dreaming as a tool to get what we want in our life. Dreaming is not something that everybody dreams, but we use dreaming. For instance, going back to Busting a Deuce, a lot of people read a magazine. We'll sit, and we talk about this, we'll sit and just imagine what we want as that's our movie. I don't really watch that many movies. I fell asleep on Hangover. People are still, it was a great movie. But I wanted to dream more than I wanted to watch because it's so fun, and then we're living our dream.
Every day I see my dream. Every day I see my dream.
Damn near anything we could think is real. And if it's not, we could create it. See, that's the gift we were given. To evolve, advance, create. I create my own world. I can make any situation reality. Imagine you had everything you wanted, everything. Imagine you were everything you ever wanted to be, and capture that feeling. That's the easiest way to manifest what you want. That's all God wants, to make us happy. It's the law of attraction I'm always talking about. Shit, look it up.
It's like so many lighters.
I read a couple books on it, but it changed my life. Even in high school, teachers would always tell me to snap out of it or snap back to reality. But I was in reality. It was real as it could be. It just wasn't there yet. It just wasn't that day. I got the car I was always dreaming about. I bought my mom the crib I always wanted to buy her. I do what I want, get money, whatever. I perform with my heroes, live a crazy-ass life. I'm still learning, though. I be stressed out. Things don't always go the way I intend them to, not even half the time. But that's just the mystery of life. You gotta trust in the end result. Trust that it'll always be the best for you at that time. If you want a pair of shoes and they're at the store, they're really at the store. You just don't have it yet. It ain't like that shit don't exist. It's just really at the store. That's how I looked at my whole life. If I want it, if I believe I can have it, then that's my reality. I'll attract it. It'll attract to me. We can make any situation we think about real. Fuck letting life pass you by. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey of making all your dreams and goals reality. Because the journey makes you who you are. I create my own world. I can make any situation my reality.
I believe in speaking shit in existence. That's a billionaire. All this mean shit to me. Meaning even if it ain't in my hands, you gonna get it. I wanna hear other young niggas talking about their bosses and speaking into existence. Ain't nothing wrong with, dreaming of things that to a lot of other people are unbelievable. Ain't nothing wrong with thinking big. It's what life like when you commit to something, when you stand behind something, when you believe in something. These some of the things that you could have. I'm a living testament that the world is yours. If you put your mind to it, anything is possible.
A lot of people were surprised when they found out that you've been signing your name as Champ 2011. How did that come about?
I believe in the law of attraction, and I believe that that you can speak things into existence. And I believe that when you know where you're going and you know what you want, the universe has a way of stepping aside for you. And me signing my signature with Champion 2011 on it, it can't hurt me. It can't hurt me. It could only help me to believe it even more. So yeah. I mean, it works for me.
You've been saying something that I find to be very interesting, that the butterflies in your stomach are in formation. Right. I've never heard that before. I think it makes a lot of sense. What do you mean by that? Elaborate.
What I mean by it? Okay, so the butterflies in formation, basically it means when you have butterflies and you're feeling anxious and you have anxiety or nervous, that's when you're most powerful, I believe. And either you can, you're most powerful. So a lot of people, instead of homing this power, and using it, they allow it to just consume them. There's another quote that says, a big challenge or big pressure is like a fire. It's like a raging fire. Either you can allow this fire to consume you and just take you over completely, or you can gain control of this fire and harness it, and you blow it right at your opponent like it's Dragon Ball Z style. All right, so that's what I'm trying to do. I try to get my emotions under control and use this adrenaline to my advantage.
Jones to the body. And it is all over. John Jones is the youngest champion in UFC history.
I want to represent an idea. I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent the idea that you really can make what you want. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, and I just believe that. I believe that I can create whatever I want to create. The first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A. I think that there's a certain delusional quality that all successful people have to have. You have to believe that something different than what has happened for the last 50 million years of history. You have to believe that something different can happen. Confucius said, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. Why would you be realistic? What's the point of being realistic?
Just put up a barrier.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's done. It's already done. The second I decide it's done, it's already done. Now we just got to wait for y'all to see.
I study the patterns of the universe.
There's a redemptive power that making a choice has, you know, rather than feeling like you're at effect to all the things that are happening. Make a choice, right? You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way. It's like it's water. It wants to move and go around stuff, you know.
You know, there's a flow of the universe that I've grown to know just how to go with it.
Because I think it's really a marvelous thing, that visualization thing you did. Do y'all read about this or hear this? That you used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night
and visualize seeing yourself as...
Yeah, I would visualize, I would visualize...
This is when you were broke and poor.
You know, right, having directors interested in me and people that I respected saying, you know, I like your work or whatever that is. And I would visualize things coming to me that I wanted or whatever.
This was in like 1987, 85?
Yeah. And I had nothing at that time, so it was like, but it just made me feel better. It made me, at that time, all it really was for me was kind of making me feel better. I would drive home and think, well, I do have these things, and they're out there. I just don't have a hold of them yet, but they're out there.
Okay. So didn't you write yourself a check? I heard that you did. Is that true?
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and I put it in my wallet and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff, but then just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on, I think it was Dumb and Dumber, maybe.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah.
Total believer. Yeah, I believe in manifestation. I believe in you know, putting a rocket of desire out into the universe, and you get it when you believe it. You get it when you believe you have it, and that's the key. Is like people still, they sit around going, when's it going to come? 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 And that's the wrong way. You're facing the wrong way. You're facing away from it. You have to go, it's here, it's here, it's here.
Just this, I've an insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. Insane belief, you know, that I think it's ultimately complete sanity, but I believe we're creators, and I believe we create with every thought and every word. Every moment is pregnant with the next moment of your life.
And I do whatever it takes, the amount of hours it takes, the posing, the this, the that, the visualization, looking at training footage, looking at motivational books, reading this, whatever it takes, I would do. And that hunger you have to develop, because you have to create a goal for yourself, whatever that may be, a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and you got to go after that. And if you do not see it, and if you do not believe it, who else will? So now you apply that principle to acting. Let's go to acting class every day. Let's go and work on the accent, the same amount of time, with the same will, and let's visualize what am I shooting for? Okay, I want to be another Clint Eastwood. I want to be another John Wayne. I want to be another Kirk Douglas, all those great heroes that I admired as a kid. So that's what I'm going after. And that same principle works, even though there's so many people around that say, no, you will never make it, because you have an accent, you know, your body is too big, and your name Schwarzen, Schnitzel, or whatever, you know, who can pronounce that? But you know. It doesn't matter if anyone else knows, and if anyone else believes in it, but you know. And that you know that that principle of visualizing yourself as a star will work, and all you have to do now is go towards that vision. And that's really what I always believed in, and I feel like that's the only way you can get ahead. If you have a very clear vision where you want to go, and if you're willing to put the work in, no matter what it takes, to get there and to turn this vision into reality, we can accomplish basically anything you want.
So I never listened that you can't. I always listened to myself and said, yes, you can.
This is when I got The Secret thing, but I didn't know it was called The Secret. I read the book The Color Purple and then went out and got books for everybody else I knew. And I was obsessed about this story. Obsessed about it. I ate, slept, thought all the time about The Color Purple. I moved to Chicago. I get a call from a casting agent asking, would I like to come and audition for a movie? I've never gotten a call in my life from anybody for a movie or anything like that. And I say, is it The Color Purple? And he says, no, it's a movie called Moonsong. And I go, well, I've been praying for The Color Purple. And I go to the audition, and of course it was The Color Purple. I audition. I don't hear anything for months. And I go to this fat farm, and I think it's because I'm fat, because I was about 212 pounds at the time. And I think I didn't get the call back because I'm so fat. And I'm at this fat farm, and I'm praying and crying, saying to God, help me let this go. Because I wanted to be in this movie so much. I wanted it, I wanted it, I wanted it. I thought I was going to be in the movie. There's all these signs that I should be in the movie. And I go to this fat farm, and I'm praying and crying. And as I'm on the track singing this song, I surrender all, I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I'm singing that song, praying and crying. A woman comes out to me, and she says, on the track, it's raining, and she says, there's a phone call for you. And the phone call was Steven Spielberg saying, I want to see you in my office in California tomorrow. Now, what I learned from that, that moment absolutely changed my life forever, because I had drawn The Color Purple into my life. I didn't know Steven Spielberg. I didn't know Quincy Jones, who saw me in Chicago. In 1984, he was there for a lawsuit that was being filed against Michael Jackson because he'd been working on his Thriller album. And he saw me on AM Chicago and said, that's Sophia. Now, I didn't know him. I didn't know anybody that had anything to do with that. But I knew that I had drawn that into my life. And it changed the way I thought about my life forever.